Ah. Hi, spirits! Apparently, that is the amazing name of my fans here, bestowed upon us by the elusive, amazing, and wonderful Ben Rosa. So, welcome to the Silva Lining. I am FuneraLady. My mortal human name is Amy Silva Rigtrup, and if you're just meeting me today, I'm a fifth generation Silva family funeral director from Massachusetts who has a hypothesis that the reason we are not reaching our full potential as people to be the happiest, most loving, and abundantly, fulfillingly living people we can be is because we don't have a good relationship with death and dying and grief and funerals and all of those things. So I'm here to find a gentle, not so morbid way to talk about all of the things, not just funerals and grief and traditions and death and prearranging and all the things you'd expect me to talk about. I want to also rip the curtain away and show you what it's like to be a funeral director, what I experience. I want you to meet all of the incredible people that I know in this industry, not just other funeral directors, but there are tons of companies and vendors that support us and help us provide all of the services that we do for all of the families that we serve. So that's what our goal is here on the Silver Lining. And I'm so happy that you're all joining us. I had a really great time last week and got some really great feedback. And I love comments. I love engagement. I love crazy questions. So keep them coming. I am super excited to share my guest with you today. Um, Her name is Megan, and we met in embalming school. So, before I bring her on, I want to talk a bit about belief systems because, like I said in my hypothesis, part of what I want to share with you is why it's so amazing to be a funeral director. And one of the biggest reasons is because of belief systems. You don't go to a funeral home anywhere and get told what to believe and where you're going to have a funeral. If a family comes to us and they say, I believe in the Church of the Big Lebowski and I would like a Dudas minister, my sister is one, we would provide that. We would figure out who to call and we would have that as the theme. So as a funeral director, we get to go with families wherever they want us to follow and lead and have these services. We get to experience all different kinds of religions, traditions, belief systems, and rituals. Even just within Catholicism, in my area, that's dominant. How many people get to visit multiple churches many times and get to know all these different communities? We do. And in grief, if someone's coming to you for guidance and for support, you're not going to impose your belief system upon them. You're going to meet them where they are and guide them from there, right? So, when I was in that incredible grief counseling program, one of the biggest lessons and things that I'm thankful for, Mr. John Tormey, is that when he presented the fact that he would be showing us a little bit about every religion and belief system he knew of, was that he was going to present it all and that he wanted us to think of it as a buffet, right? I'm going to set up this buffet. I want you to just enter. I want you to just enter this world with a plate. And I'm going to have everything presented for you so that you know what it all looks like. You're going to see a dish of Buddhism. You might see some Catholicism. You might see some atheism. You might see all of these things you may have never, ever heard of. Some things you can skip. Some things might really move you. And though you will understand what all of these things are and be able to recognize all of them, you're going to be in charge of what amount and what items you're going to put on your plate. And I thought that was absolutely the coolest way to think about religion and traditions and cultures and all of this stuff. And my goodness, this is not a political show, but just imagine with me for a moment if we could all look at politics that same way. Because when you go to a buffet, who's judging each other's plates? Right? So that's the biggest thing that I'm probably thankful for being a funeral director, is that we're constantly getting to learn and visit and immerse ourselves in different traditions, belief systems, religions, church communities. I mean, how many people out there know that one of the most beautiful Buddhist temples in the world is in Rainham, Massachusetts, and you can go visit anytime. And there's a museum, and it's absolutely beautiful. And in the summer, they have the most incredible outdoor food markets. Just, I mean, oof, the food alone, let alone the beautiful music, the dancing, and everything that they do. So, yeah, I'm going to bring you along on that ride. And that brings me to Megan. Megan and I met in embalming school. We went to the Fine Funeral Institute of Northeast up in Norwood, Massachusetts, where we immersed ourselves in all things funeral, embalming, chemistry, pathology, funeral traditions, all of the things to take our national board exam and get licensed. And that bonded our friendship back in, what was it, 2004, 2005? And here we are, still connected and bonded forever. She's still one of my favorite human beings on the absolute planet. And she has been on a long journey herself. She currently is not a funeral director. She is a medium, and she is absolutely incredible. So we're going to have a great chat with my dear friend Megan. So let's bring her up. I think she is ready, and I know which button to press. Boom, Megan.
Hi.
Can everybody hear Megan, and can we see how beautiful she is? Awesome, awesome. Oh, and yes, just blame it on my wild. You are correct. I just got to highlight this. It was Ben Rosa, the one and only, that gave us the nickname Spirits. So fittingly, Megan, my fans are called Spirits. My friend Jess Machado has a YouTube show, and her fans are called Bunnies. She's got the bunnies. Turtle Boy has turtles. Melanie Little, my favorite LawTube YouTube person that I watch the Karen retrials with, her fans are called Cupcakes. So yeah, I'm honored to have spirits bestowed on me. So welcome, Megan. How are you today?
Good. Thank you for having me.
I'm so happy that you're here. I'm happy this worked out.
Me too.
So let's rewind and go back. I don't even want to say how many years. So when we met in embalming school and we looked gorgeous like we do now.
Oh
yes. What would you say your life was like back then?
Oh wow. I knew nothing. Let's just start with that, you know. We were young to go into the school that we were going into, you know.
Yeah.
At least you had some family experience with it, being fifth generation. I kind of remember being overwhelmed, but in the most beautiful and meaningful way, because the things that were presented to us and the people that I met there, we weren't dealing with light things, right? We were dealing with very heavy things, but we were doing it with some of the best people I've ever met in my life, and people who had the most, you know, biggest sense of humor. And I would say from all the professors, a really good heart in how they wanted to teach and teach people to be in this industry and do this kind of work, working with people who are grieving and really trying to understand all of it. Yeah.
Every time I see your face and every time I think of Fine, I remember that moment in Mr. Ralph Kunkel's anatomy class. I don't know, anatomy, out of everything, I loved all of the science classes definitely more than the other classes, but anatomy was my favorite.
Yeah.
And Ralph, our professor, was so cool. He on the side had like a radio show in the Cape where he played jazz music and talked about birds. Like he was just a cool cat. But he was like so passionate about anatomy. And remember, we were talking about the reproductive system.
Yes. We're talking about many systems.
Yes, many systems. And
Yeah.
he was trying to get us to really understand the importance of the fimbri. Does anyone in chat know what the fimbri are in the female reproductive system? This is a Jeopardy question that I'm waiting for it to come up.
That fimbri knowledge.
Pretty much, he was trying to explain that at the end of the fallopian tubes, which kind of, encase the ovum into itself and into the uterus, there's not like fingers or a system that grabs them. And he was trying to explain that the fimbri are just these waving structures that gently coax it was almost like William Shatner kind of moment. He was just lost in the fimbri, and the whole class was just dumbfounded for like 5 minutes. He was just like, yeah, they don't grab, they don't pull, they just gently coax the ovum into the uterus, into the fallopian tube. So yeah, I'll never forget fimbri because of that moment. And the other thing I wanted to see if you remember, I tried to find it in my cue cards, but you and I wrote a rap, and this was like pre-Hamilton. We wrote a rap about ossification.
Oh my God, I remember.
You remember
I don't remember any of it though, but yeah, I do remember doing that.
Find it. It was like Beastie Boys vibe. I think we were modeling it after Beastie Boys, but we had to memorize this like 3-paragraph explanation about how bone marrow, I think, ossifies. I don't know. If I ever find it, we'll practice and we'll like do a whole karaoke thing.
Yeah. God, we have some memories there, huh? Yeah, the ones that are popping into my head are the business courses with your examples of your very expensive assets of the New Kids on the Block tapes and your Pinto car.
Yes. I forgot about that. Ooh, I keep hitting my microphone. Yeah, we wrote study raps. We remember Dip the Corn?
Yep.
Corn and bacteria.
Yep.
Causes diphtheria. And for some reason, Dip the Corn was how so there was a lot of science is what we're getting at that we just had to memorize, like no matter how you got it in there. It was so much. I remember I had boxes of cue cards from Staples, and I think I filled 6 of them. And that was how I survived. And kids out there today, if you're in embalming school or any school for that matter, I know you're all typing and like scanning your eyeballs into technology, but writing things out, handwriting and highlighters, it just did some like photographic memory trick. And remember the anatomy coloring book?
Yes. Yep. Still have
Best friend. Best friend.
Never colored them all in though.
No, I didn't. I only did like the major ones. Like we had to learn the circulatory system. Like it was like a highway of the country.
Yeah.
I remember our final was just one sentence, the drop of blood final.
Yep.
Our whole anatomy final was like a heroin addict having ruined most of his regular veins, injects the heroin into, I think it was his big toe, follow the drop of heroin like through the circulatory system, hepatic, liver, everything in and out, and to like the left pinky or something. And it took the full like 2 hours to map out every single blood vessel that I'm glad we got through that. And back then, you amazingly were a single mom.
Yes. Yeah. It was a very different life.
And I was able to babysit your incredible daughter, Lexi. She was the best. Yeah. And now what's Lexi doing?
Yeah. Now she's in grad school, just finishing grad school. Yeah. For medical physics.
Love it.
Incredible, isn't it?
So what brought you to funeral school? What was because I grew up in a funeral home, but you didn't. So what was your moment?
Well, so I was hoping that we would get into this a little bit today because it's grief, right? Grief is a really difficult thing to go through. It's really, really heavy. I had a loss when I was a teenager, and I had a really difficult time processing this loss. And I didn't really have any good structure around me that had taught me how to deal with or cope with, or even not even just the grief itself, but actually the traditions, because I didn't grow up like a lot of other people did. My parents were, maybe they had some like religious, what am I going to say? They didn't
Trauma.
like organized religion, I guess I would say it that way. And so
Yeah.
they brought us up to experiment and show a lot of different cultures. So my dad ended up liking a lot of Tibetan and Buddhist things. We would go to a lot of different, we'd go into Chinatown. My mother loved Native American culture. We'd go to Native American powwows.
Oh, that's awesome.
But when my friend passed away, I had no concept really of what a Christian service was. And it was really, really difficult time. I just remember being like, my world was tipped upside down. I went through a lot of grief, and I held on to that for many, many years. And once I kind of finally started thinking about, well, what would I like to do? I really wanted to help other people through that kind of grief.
Right.
And I don't think I actually started really, really processing it, letting it go until I was in funeral school.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that was when you were a younger teenager?
I was about 23, and I think I was about 16 when my friend passed away. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, there's not really, like, in society in general, there's not really a great roadmap.
No, I don't think that there is. That's why I think what you're doing here is fabulous. I think we need to talk about this stuff more. Yeah, it's very, very helpful.
We need to normalize it, for
Yep.
sure. For sure. So we finish embalming school. We do our national exam. We lose touch for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And then I remember, because you were at my wedding, and one of my favorite pictures of my wedding was me and you. You're all over my video. Like, I'm like, I want to go back to my wedding and be Megan at my wedding and not the bride.
I think I had too much fun, and I've never seen the video, and I don't ever want to.
I will hide it. It's all on many DVDs. So when we reconnected, you had fallen in love with an amazing man.
Yes.
And you upgraded from 1 child to 4.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
It's incredible. How did you and Ed meet?
It's really, really funny, because I've never been on a dating app, but we met when MySpace was cool. Like the first few months that MySpace was a thing.
Yes,
and I laugh
top
about
8.
it because I didn't get social media until COVID. So other than these 3 or 4 months where I was experimenting way back in the day with MySpace, if I didn't meet him while I was on there for those 3 or 4 months, we never would have met. But I was just kind of scrolling through and checking things out, and he happened to have a painting up. He didn't have his photo up. And the painting that he had up on his picture was a tattoo that my brother had on his arm. And so that made me reach out and message him. And it was a blue tiger fighting a dragon, which I understood was a martial arts thing, and very specifically a Northern Shaolin Kung Fu martial arts thing. And so I was very curious why he knew about this painting. And we kind of got to talking about martial arts and healing, spirituality, philosophy, all kinds of things, and just chatted for several weeks. And yeah, it was kind of written in the stars from there.
Yeah, from the start. I mean, that's very specific.
It's very specific. Now, understanding how we come across signs as a medium, I now understand why I saw that painting.
Yes, which brings me to my next question. What was the journey like towards mediumship? I mean, just one day looking into it? What was that like?
So I've always had a curiosity, and I would say that that stemmed even before the loss of my friend when I was younger, because I had such an open household when it came to things of different cultures, meditation, all of those types of things. But I wouldn't say that I was somebody who knew I was a medium when I was a kid.
Right.
I went through some difficult things. I went through some difficult health challenges, which you know a lot about as well. And I had 1 year where I started really turning all of it around, found a really good physical therapy place. I really started pulling my health into alignment. And about a year into that, I decided that I really wanted to do something for myself and take a class. And I realized that, the best thing that I could do is actually kind of go back to this thing that I've always been curious about and did not know enough of. So from the very first class that I took, I discovered that I could do mediumship, which blew my mind because I did not even understand how it really worked.
Right.
I truly didn't. And I know a lot of mediums out there will say like they've had this since they were kids. maybe I did and I didn't know that's what it was. I'm not sure. I think I thought I just had a very active imagination and was just like, oh,
Yeah.
random things will pop into my head. That's interesting.
Yeah,
But I didn't
totally.
understand that it had any meaning. Yeah.
Or that you could harness it.
Hmm.
Where so there are mediumship schools and they're local?
Yes, there in Massachusetts, we're kind of very fortunate. There are many very good mediums around here who teach. I'm currently teaching. I work with several of my mentors that I've learned from now too. Rita Berkowitz, Lori Sheridan, fabulous mediums, fabulous teachers. There's many out there though.
Awesome.
And yeah, it is definitely something that anybody can do. Some of us might have a little bit stronger antenna in the beginning than other people, pick up on a little easier, but
Right.
it's much more of learning how to quiet the body and tune yourself into the right mind state.
Interesting. So it's kind of internal teaching.
Yes.
And then can you, because the other thing I learned through being friends with you is that there's so many different kinds of mediumship. Like I thought medium meant I'm sensing someone, here's the description, and that's it. We're just talking about the spirit that I'm sensing. Can you kind of describe a little bit of the different types of mediumship?
Are you speaking of like when
Like,
somebody does spirit art and things like that?
yeah, when you started doing the artistry stuff, I was like, that's a thing?
Yeah, I would say I dabble by comparison because there are phenomenally talented spirit artists out there, and many of them classically trained artists too.
Wow.
But anybody can do spirit art. Having said that, there's a lot of different ways to do spirit art. But that is a way of, I guess I'm going to come at it two different ways because I think I was confused about spirit art when I first started doing it as well. Um, One of the ways is just to start drawing and see what pops up on the paper, right? The other way is to you're actually seeing the spirit person who's coming to you and drawing them as you're going. But then there's a lot of other types of spirit art as well that mediums will do. Some of them are called auragraphs, where you will sit there, you will get imagery that's coming to you, and it's all part of a bigger meaning or message for the person who's receiving the reading. And they're beautiful, and they can be very layered, a lot of information, a lot of imagery, a lot of meaningful things for the people.
That's so amazing. And do you find that people know about this or that a lot of these events that offer these different types of mediumship leave people like surprised that this is even available?
I find that it's a bit of both. Um, there's definitely like a large amount of people who come to these things already that are aware of it. But it's actually probably my favorite thing is meeting people who've not had an experience before and being able to sit with them and have them experience a mediumship reading.
I also wanted to ask, like, does mediumship encompass also like tarot card readings, astrology, numerology? Are these all facets somewhat connected or are these completely separate
So
kind of
different.
categories?
Different for sure. So mediumship is very specifically raising your energy up and having the spirit person lower their energy. You're kind of meeting in the middle and blending your energy so you can receive the information from them. But mediumship is meeting with people's loved ones who've passed on. All of the other tools that you've spoken of, I would say a lot of those are used more psychically to pick up on the themes and patterns and things that are going on around people, or astrology being a science.
So they don't usually involve like ancestors and
They
guides,
don't usually
or
have.
maybe.
Having said that, you can do tarot readings and have messages from guides come through. You can look in somebody's chart and you can see information about ancestry and generational things going on with family. So there's a lot of different layers that can be seen from those things. But just medium in particular is the loved ones in spirit coming through.
That's so cool. Has what do you think internally? I know there's a lot about harnessing this ability, but what do you think your journey with this has kind of provided you? Like, how has this affected your life in general?
In a profound way, I would say. The year that I decided to do this also just happened to be quite a difficult year in general. God, I'm going to think that I think it was like the fall of 2019 that I took my first class. And
Wow.
so we kind of immediately went into that year of COVID right after this,
Yeah.
right? And it was a difficult year for a lot of people and my family too. I think that it helped me to stay grounded. It gave me more meaning and more purpose when the world felt like it was, kind of coming undone for a while. And especially when people started feeling more isolated, I started feeling more open and connected to everything.
Right.
So it kind of came to me at a time where it was really, really deeply healing, and
Right.
at a moment where I feel like I really needed it. Yeah.
Totally. I feel like I'm a lucky person to know you in general, but to have the opportunity to be friends with someone along this journey of organically discovering these abilities, learning what you've learned, I feel like it's been such a gift because, like the funeral industry, there's a lot of stigma and misunderstandings and misconceptions about mediumship.
Absolutely.
So knowing you has kind of brought this like really truly organic experience to my life. The year after you started, you gave me a reading. I don't know if you remember, like on the water outside my house.
Yeah.
I lost my dad's father, and that was a huge, impactful time for me because I lost my mom's mother 2 weeks later, my dad's father, and it just crumbled from there. And I previously had maybe 2 or 3 readings before that were powerful, and people definitely came through, but your reading was different. Your reading felt kinda like a therapy session. It seemed more conversational. It seemed like I don't know, like, everything you said was super visual. The biggest thing that stays with me, because tiny backstory, my grandfather had Parkinson's. So he was a very, very active person until literally his body got in the way, right? So his mind was still sharp as a tack, but he physically had a lot of restrictions. So as my kids became old enough to really have a relationship with him, he physically couldn't do the things that he wanted to do. You know what I mean? Like it was just really hard. So the biggest thing I remember when I think about that reading with you on the water is when you said that you saw my grandfather holding up a picture frame, and you were describing memories that he was like showing off, not just to me but to people around him. And what you said that meant was that he wanted me to know that he's able to like engage in their life now more than he could when his body was in the way. And I don't think I ever got to really thank you for that, because that sentiment and that knowledge, I feel that moment every time there's a milestone with my kids. I know that my grandfather has the best seat in the house. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So your reading to me wasn't gimmicky. It wasn't like anything anyone would describe from the beginning. You know what I mean? I
Mhm.
just, I'm just thankful. I'm thankful for you. And I'm
I'm
happy you're here to
thankful
talk
for your
about
grandfather. Yeah.
that.
Because it has so much less to do with me than it does with them. And when they choose to come through, and I'm honored every time they choose to share something with me to give to a loved one. And I've been very fortunate to be the recipient of those readings in my moments of need, having losses as well.
Do you feel like it's helped you, or has it changed your experience? Because you experienced some heavy grief before this journey as well.
Yes. And I would say that it surprised me how healing it was, and it surprised me how much I needed it. And the grief that I've experienced, particularly over this last year, I lost my mother a little over a year ago, surprised me as well. Having done mortuary work, having done mediumship, working with people with loss, um, it was a really humbling reminder because I hadn't had a profound loss in a very long time, not since before I knew I was a medium, right?
Wow.
And so there's nothing that we can do to avoid grief or cheat code our way out or around grief. There's no magical knowledge that I have as a medium or having done any of this work before that allows you to avoid feeling what grief feels like.
Yeah.
And I was really blessed to receive several readings this year from fellow mediumship friends and peers that really hit home. And it is so meaningful. It's so beautiful. And it is so healing receiving those messages from people. When people can bring your loved one forward in a way that is recognizable and significant, with
Yeah.
memory, with something, you know that they are there with you and you know that they are okay.
Have you felt direct connection from your mom?
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
I remember one of the first times, I'm a very uncomfortable public speaker. Like even right now, I hate it. Nerves, anxiety, everything firing off like crazy.
You're doing great.
And thank you. So one of the first, I think it was that fall before she passed away, I had done a public speaking thing in one of the churches. And I had one, I want to say it was 3 or 4 weeks after she passed away, I had the second one. And I wasn't sure that I was going to be able to get up there and do the job of doing mediumship. I wasn't sure that I was going to be able to get up there and keep it together or say anything meaningful. And I felt her so closely with me, and she just kept making me smile and feel warm and protected. But it was almost to the point where I felt like I was going to laugh when I was up there. Like she was hugging me so tight, that I actually had to ask her to step back for a minute just so that I could
You're still, so even on the great beyond, you got to set boundaries, is
yes,
what you're saying?
Absolutely. Yeah, she comes through in the strongest spirit for me, for sure, out of anyone that I've lost. I've been very fortunate to have all of them make their presence known to me in many different ways. But my mom is definitely the loudest, and I love her so much for it.
I was honored to get to meet your mom quite a few times. And I wish I had met your grandmother more. So I remember when your grandmother passed, just seeing her videos, her pictures, and talking to you about her and your mom about her. What a gorgeous name, too.
Yes.
When I first heard her name, is it okay if I say her?
Okay.
Is it Euterpe?
Is Evterpe, if you're going to say.
Evterpe. See, Greek, like
Yes.
the most Greek person I know, and I love it. Just such a beautiful name. And the psychic moment I had with you was when I was delivering her ashes to your house. I don't know if you remember that day. The weekend prior, I had lost a very close friend of mine named Rich. And he was a little younger than me. He was like a papa bear, like always looking out for everybody. And I wasn't taking good care of myself. Like that weekend between, I was asked to be the officiant for his service, which there'll be a whole episode about that experience. But it was a lot between the coordination and trying to like have that creative spiritual mind to like put the service together and getting everything done. I was not eating. I was constant migraine, I was like running on fumes. And I remember ringing your doorbell and holding your grandmother's ashes in my arms. And you answered the door and you gave me a hug and you were like, and Rich always wore flannel shirts. And you were like, there's a big guy behind you in a flannel shirt holding a steak. And I was like, oh my God, Rich. Rich is like, girl, you need to eat. Like you just, I don't know. You have a way. I think you have a way of not just connecting with people, but it's also you, Megan, yourself, have a way of communicating those messages. Like that's going to be something varying between different mediums. I think you package things and say things very, very well.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I would say like you hit the nail on the head about it being very different with different mediums. I actually really love this about all of the different mediums because we all have different personalities. We all have different life experiences. We all have different losses and hardships that got us to the places that we're at. And so we are all going to receive the information a little bit differently, pick up on different things about somebody's loved one in a different way.
Yeah.
And it's why I actually recommend if people are interested in going and seeing a medium, see a couple different mediums. You you might have, and this has happened to me. I've had, even with my mom coming through, she comes through with different information, different pieces about her personality, and I get to experience that in different ways because it's getting filtered through somebody else's
Right.
personality and soul and spirit as it's coming through to me.
Totally.
And so there's, it's one of the most beautiful things about this work, that there is a variety in different ways of all of us doing this.
It's so fascinating. And I remember you telling me about an event you did, I think about astrology, where you it was so interesting. You were like tying it to Barbie.
Yeah. Yes.
I was so blown away. Can you tell us about how that event went?
So
it was such a cool concept.
It was one of the first, I think, public events I did for like a demonstration on how to read like an astrology chart. And so we're trying to show that, you can take a moment in time, because that's what it is when you look at an astrology chart, a natal chart. It is a snapshot of the sky at a moment in time. And so usually we're talking about when people are born, right? But you can do astrology for events. You can do it for the birth of a country, a nation. You can do it for the beginnings and endings of things, to choose certain dates that might be good for things. You can even do it for inanimate objects, and when they became well known and public and were put on a public stage, right? And so this was actually a fascinating one to do, because I can't remember the date of when it was released now, but Barbie has a Gemini ascendant. She's a Pisces midheaven. She's which is very mutable signs for anybody who understands any astrology out there. She's very social. She had so many different jobs, and a lot of them all had to do with water, with this Pisces midheaven that she's had. Like, she's been like a scuba instructor. It's like everything's with her on the beach. But was even more interesting to me watching it was that over time, as these things happened, when they released Barbie's dream house, astrologically for her, it was a perfect time to get a new home. when they introduced Ken into her life, it was a perfect time for her to have a boyfriend, a long-term partnership. So it was actually, even everything about the Barbie movie is, it is so spot on to the astrology of the chart of Barbie and how it all played out. It's very, very interesting.
Almost makes you wonder if the director or the person that wrote it consulted an astrologist.
It's interesting. It's always very interesting.
You just never know.
Yeah.
I love it. For anyone out there that wants to find you and anything that you're doing, I know you have a big event tomorrow.
Yes.
Can you tell me what you're doing tomorrow? In Plymouth, I think, right?
Yeah, it's a demonstration of mediumship and spirit art. I'm working with Rita Berkowitz, who is a phenomenal spirit artist. And beforehand, this place is kind of unique. They have these immersive screens. There's 5 of them in the space. So we're going to be doing like a little immersive experience to kind of get people in the energy before we go into the mediumship demonstration. And that's at Fountain Aesthetics in Cordage Park in Plymouth.
So cool.
Yeah, very cool.
So you've talked about, like, as a medium, you need to, and I've had you do events with me, you need to kind of get yourself into a space through meditation and I think other tools. So this is going to be, so does it help? It's like a two-way experience where if your audience can also get into a space.
Absolutely, yes. Designed to help the audience also get into a settling emotional state and be really ready, prepared. Yeah.
Wild. Have you ever done any types or forms of mediumship or astrology over distance, like over Zoom and stuff?
Yep. I think that I kind of lucked out learning how to do all of these things kind of during COVID, because the whole world went online, right? And so I just ended up practicing like that because that's where all of it ended up being. I think that, maybe if it was before that, maybe it would have been like, oh my goodness, the phone harder. Yeah, I might have like been in my head and gotten in the way of that a little bit. But there's no distance that stops that connection. That connection is in another dimension, and it's all here around us all of the time. So that part of it doesn't actually matter.
I also saw that you do, what's it called, a practice circle twice a month, and is this for people that are looking to learn about their own mediumship, or for people looking to get readings?
Looking to learn how to do mediumship, and all levels are welcome. We have a mixed mixed level group, which I love because I was fortunate to be in some mixed level groups when I was first learning too. And it's very helpful being in there as a new person with other people who are more experienced. And
Right.
the lessons go back and forth in both directions, but it's a really good to kind of be in a space like that and practice with one another.
Oh,
Just
it
think,
must.
yeah.
I can't imagine the bonds you form too, like going to school for this. I mean, we're still bonded with most of the people from embalming school. I can't imagine.
It definitely bonds you.
Unbelievable. What is homework like when you're studying mediumship?
A lot of well, we don't call it meditation really, it's sitting in the power, and so that's one of the
Ooh.
most important things a medium can do. And it can even just be for about 10 minutes a day, but sitting in a space, quieting your body, quieting your breath,
Mm.
and building your energy, building that white light, expanding your soul energy, feeling connected to yourself, your space, the universe, all of life around you, the earth. And it really helps you understand how your energy works and how to open it up when you want to
Mm.
receive, but also how to close it down when you need to have boundaries. Both are very important. Um,
Huge.
but that is actually one of the most important things that a medium can do.
Do you find that knowledge right there is helpful in lots of aspects of life, not just mediumship? Like, I can
Gold.
imagine stressful situations.
Yes, that is gold right there.
Yeah,
Most mediums are very sensitive people, right? There's a
yeah.
reason that they're drawn to this. They're very empathetic, very compassionate, spiritual in some capacity, with this curiosity for what more is there, what is after this. Can I connect to my people?
Yeah.
That energy is very vulnerable energy that leaves you very open when you're walking around in the world, right?
Right,
Very,
right,
very good for mediumship to feel connected to everything and everyone. We want that. That's how you blend
right.
with the energy to pick it up. Very bad if you're walking through the mall and everyone's like arguing around you and like, yeah,
You're like, "I don't want that."
yeah, learning how to open and close it, but also learning about more about it actually helps you understand, you don't have to take on everything that's happening around you all the time. You
Wild.
can leave those things there. Yeah.
Totally. Ah, I think it's just fascinating. And we also have bonded as people. When we reconnected, you you had been battling with a lot of the same chronic illness situations that I ended up also having. And when you went through it, it was far before me, and there were far less resources and knowledge out there. Um, and I'm also thankful that, like, I don't know, like, our whole friendship, I believe, was like made by someone else and like written in the stars. And I don't
Agree.
know, like, every time we're together, it's like the right time. Um, do you feel that this journey with mediumship has also benefited? A lot of pain and what we deal with is internal management and adjustment and nervous system regulation. Do you feel that there's some crossover that kind of has helped on that world too?
Yeah, I definitely do. I would say it's a tough question. I'm going to be very honest about it. So
Yeah.
I would say like 70% of the time is what I would say. All of the things I've learned from the meditation, mediumship, things like that can really put me in a much better place medically, right? It can
Yeah.
help me cope with the pain, um, managing my life, not getting frustrated with everything that's happening, all of those things. But the other 30% is the medical stuff overwhelming me to the point where I now have a difficult time meditating and getting into
Yeah.
that space, right? And so the goal is to get that to keep moving in the other direction. So yeah.
Totally. Here's an even bigger question. What, at this point in your life, if you had to describe what you believe right now is what happens in the afterlife, what would you say? What's your guess?
That's a fascinating question. I've done several different with some teachers. We've had some groups where that was the focus. It's not actually the focus all of the time with mediumship and spirit work. And I do know that there's some really good mediums out there right now actually trying to open that up more, talking about it, practicing that way, and even teaching that way too. Because people, yes, they want to know that their loved ones are okay. And yes, they want to know that you can pick up on the fact that they used to play basketball or, have a scar in their knee.
Right.
But what are they doing now? Right?
Right.
That's a big thing. I find it really interesting. I have tuned into those things before. Usually a lot of what I'm getting is still related to what the person was like or was doing while they're here. And I'm not certain if that's because that would be what's familiar to us, and would we even have some kind of concept or construct about what else is possible. Or, I'm not sure about that. And that's I love having these conversations with people. And I honestly, I kind of like that I don't know. I think anyone who tells you they know everything is kind of full of it anyway, right?
Nobody does.
Nobody knows everything. It's amazing to me that we can even do as much as we can do.
Yeah.
I do know that from the experience of connecting with spirit people, they come through loving, they come through with compassion, they come through with healing, with wisdom, with loving messages for us. Sometimes with sense of humor. And so the one thing that I do know to be true is that love vibration is what's real. Like there's nothing more pure than just love, right?
And I like to think too, because another stigma or assumption is in general that belief systems or religion has to be all or nothing, right? Like I've never felt all or nothing about anything really in my life. Like a little bit country, a little bit rock and roll. That's kind of my mindset for anything. I was brought up Catholic, but I still also always felt and believed in like spirits and ghosts. I don't know if you heard my first show, but I was never afraid of ghosts because I was like, they just died. They're too busy. Like they're trying to figure out like what happened.
Yeah.
But I think it's all connected. And I don't know if you read the Celestine Prophecy.
No.
There's like certain books just about like general human needs for something to believe in and something to live for and something to guide us. And that religion, I think, is valid. And I believe in God and I believe in the Bible and Jesus Christ. But I also believe that people have different lives and different perspectives and different versions of all of these things.
Yeah.
And that nothing negates anything else. You know what I mean? Like, I've never felt that my belief in mediumship is dark or that it negates Catholicism, but I've definitely met people that are Catholic and are very like hard no, superstition. Like we've had funerals where they needed the map of our procession route so they could cover the property. If we were driving by a certain house, they would put a ring of salt around the house.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like this still exists. So I don't know. Like I love having conversations like this because I think there are more of us out there that are open to a little bit of everything than there are of people that really have hard walls and fear about things. And regardless of what you buy into, I like knowing that like the people that are impactful in your life are what are going to matter forever.
Yeah.
After they're gone while you're still living. And then I like knowing and believing in heaven. I'm hoping it's heaven, but if I get there and it's really Disney World, I'm going to be so open to it because I've been like, hey, I've never, I didn't put all my eggs in one basket. So whatever it is, I'm open to it as long as I can reconnect in some way with the people that mattered in my life. There's my wish for the afterlife is there's a book I read called Seeking Jordan, which is the best thing I've ever read in my life about the afterlife. And it kind of has to do with mediumship. It was this gentleman that wrote it. I can't remember the author's name right now, but I will find it and add it to the show notes. I got to interview him actually when I was on the radio. He was a man of science, right? Black and white, evidence-based. And he lost I think his son was in his young 20s. unexpected, died on his way home from work. Like I think it was a mugging accident. So like tragedy, unexpected death, gone. And this gentleman went on a journey of mediumship. Like he met with tons of mediums, and all he wanted, like as part of his grief journey, was constant different ways of connecting. And after connecting through like a third party, he was like, there's got to be a way that I can find and learn to connect directly. So he started researching and following, this journey to find different ways of direct mediumship. And he ended up with, I think it was like a form of meditative writing where he would get in a certain mental state. Ooh, you can see my hot flash. Isn't that fun? My kids love pointing that out. But he would essentially meditate to a point that he would get in a certain mind frame, and he would write his question to his son, and through him, his son would respond and he would write it back. And he said this was such an immersive and profound and healing situation that he did it for years. And through this conversation in writing with his son explained what his experience was like in the afterlife. And they together were like, we should write a book. And they outlined the book and like wrote this book together through this process. And to sum it up, he pretty much said that like everybody that's in your life right now, it's kind of based in reincarnation, but he was like, there's a reason that everyone in your life is in your life. Like when you, obviously your family and the people you fall in love with, those are like the big players. But sometimes like you happen to be at a certain restaurant on a certain day and you just have a 10-minute conversation with someone and you're just like, oh my, like you're just drawn and you're like, this is such, there's nowhere else I need to be right now. And from that conversation leads to something else, or it stays with you forever. Or you just meet a friend, like meeting you, and you're like, you belong in my life. He said those are like the players. And this spoke to me because I'm a theater girl, like a cast of a theater company. These people appear in every life that you have. And in every life, they might play different roles. And he was like telling his dad, he was like, oh, in a past life, like you were like a neighbor and, you might have been a spouse, or like you go through all these lives and all these important people in your life find you in different ways. But the important thing is when you pass, there's a moment of like mass kind of I picture it like in heaven, everyone coming to the cast party and bringing together all the knowledge, everything that they learned from that past experience, the show they were just in. And then there's a consensus about what do we need to experience next? Mm-hmm. What do we need to learn next? Do we need to learn like poverty, or going through like a profound loss of a child, or different situations, different types of beings? And in that next life, you find each other in all these different roles. It was just the most fascinating depiction of the afterlife. And if I could put my money on something and be like, please, if there's anything I wish it to be after death, it would be that, because that would come with the promise that every important person that has been a pillar or an important role in my life is always in every life, like my cast. Because there's nothing like a cast party. I don't know if you've ever been in a play. I know your daughter has. And then you pick the next show. Like, I don't know. You should read it if you haven't. It's called Seeking Jordan, and it's so good.
Yes, I'll definitely give that a read.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a
I completely agree. I think we're here to learn, right?
Yeah.
And we do that by aggravating each other, like forcing ourselves to have to deal with situations that are uncomfortable sometimes. And that's where that soul growth happens. It doesn't happen when everything is easy in life, right? And so sometimes you're going to have people who are really irritating or agitating around you, and you're not going to understand why they have to be in your life. But I believe like there is a higher reason to all that. And if you can pause for a minute, even if you can't communicate or get along with those people, and just sit with that thought and step back, and it can calm you down and realize, okay, I don't need to take this so seriously. What am I supposed to be learning from this?
Right.
When you can get to what you're supposed to be learning from it quicker, you can usually get out of the pain and frustration from it faster.
Totally. I love that. It's like, I always think of life as like peaks like this. The lows get lower, but the highs get higher.
Yeah.
And it just keeps going. I remember a really profound moment in my life that I'll always cherish came from my youngest brother-in-law. I don't even know how old he was at the time, but at this moment in my life, it was before I had kids. I was so stressed out. It was like an immersive, I couldn't see past the cloud of stress that I had. Like, I couldn't see that there'd be more than this. We wanted nothing more than to have children. Like, all of the things that were on us, we couldn't see beyond the weight of it. And it was all encompassing. And I remember just sitting with him in a living room, and he was like, Amy, just remember that right now is like, if your life was a pie, this is just a little sliver. Like, regardless of what happens, like, everything might not be perfect, but you're going to look back, and this seems so intense because you're like in the middle of the slice and it's all sticky. But when you look back at your life as a whole, you might not even be able to pick it out. It's that small of the whole. And I don't know, like, moments like that, relationships like that, they happen for a reason, and they help build who you are. Like, the choices that you make, you can't undo all of that. So I'm just so happy to chat with you. I wanted to look in the chat and see if anyone has any questions for Megan. And Megan, if you're open to it,
yeah, absolutely,
we could bring people on.
Sure.
You down? I'm down. Yeah. I mean, hey, I got at least an hour to kill. Let's see. Ooh, lemon pound cake.
First of all, I love lemon pound cake, so I just love this already.
Do you know about lemon pound cake?
No, but I actually love lemon cake. So.
Do you remember Afro Man from the days of our youth? Yep. He was just in trial. People like raided his house wrongly. He wasn't even there, and it was just a whole mess. And in the video footage he had of these cops raiding his house for no reason, one of the cops like paused in his kitchen to look at this lemon pound cake on his table, right? So he proceeded to like speak very loudly about how wrong this all was. There was like money that they seized and money was missing. There was a lot of like freedom of speech and things wrong with this, right? But he's a brilliant genius. So he made a parody song called Lemon Pound Cake. And he used footage from his security cameras. Like, they broke down his door. Like, they totally messed things up. And he kind of like threw it right back in their face and used his freedom of speech, which he had every right to do. And this Lemon Pound Cake song is like amazing. Like, you thought Because I Got High was incredible. Lemon Pound Cake. And it's like lemon pound cake, doo-doo. Like, it's just so good. You just got to hear it. So yeah, that's your homework for after the show, is to watch Lemon Pound Cake and watch his testimony, because it's phenomenal. He wore like a suit made up entirely of American flags. Like, just unbelievable. And he owned his testimony. He owned the whole moment. But yeah, I'm going to put the link in the chat because I know how to do things. And if anyone wants to come on and chat with me and Megan, it would be amazing. So yeah, let me do the copy. Boom. And let's paste. Boom. So yeah. And I think I can pin it. Nope. I'm not going to put myself in timeout. I thought I could pin it, but I just put it in the chat. If anyone wants to pop in, I think it'll tell me if you're in the waiting room. Let's see if we have questions and comment, though. So at Lenai, she asks, craziest interaction with a spirit. Crazy. Not to be confused with my fans here, like actual spirit.
I don't know if I've had a crazy interaction with the spirit. I've had very interesting and unique things come through sometimes. And
What about something that like caught you off guard the most or unexpected?
I have quite a few of those. So I think that's the most challenging thing for a medium to deal with when you're learning or doing this work, is to trust what you're receiving and say it, no matter how crazy it sounds.
Okay.
And so one piece of evidence I remember getting once was, I just saw this woman had like teeth in her hand, and she kept putting her hand in her pocket and rolling the teeth in her hand. And so I mentioned it in this reading, and this woman was known for taking her dentures out and playing with them in her hand and putting them in and out of her pocket while she was grocery shopping. And so it was actually a significant piece of evidence for this person's grandmother. And so sometimes I have like very weird or odd pieces of information come through, and I've had to learn to stop my brain from being like, I'm not going to say that, because no, that's the stuff that I might think it's wild or,
but you just never know.
Significant to the person for some reason, usually. Yeah. Other than that, I don't think I've had like a crazy experience with spirit.
Honestly. Have you had an experience where a spirit has made you laugh uncontrollably?
Yes.
Before you can even say anything?
Yes. And that's fun for me, because I usually get that with so I receive information a few different ways. I'll see things, I'll hear things in my own like inner voice, but I feel things a lot too. And when I'm feeling what their personality feels like, I kind of just feel like they're wrapped around me, and I can feel like how they would feel. But the people who come through that are very sarcastic and joking around, they literally come through just with that energy from the start, and it makes me want to laugh out loud. So I know that sense of humor is like a really big thing with them. And a lot of times too, sometimes they'll be very crass if they spoke like that in real life. And so I will just actually say to somebody, like, they had a very colorful language, because I'm always very careful how I'm saying something to somebody. Right. But usually they recognize that immediately.
Yeah. That's wild. What an experience. Hi, Phil. My buddy Phil is here. He has an awesome radio show in like the Worcester area. Hi, Phil. We have Heather Ashworth, an awesome bestie I got to meet in person last weekend. Have you ever sat down with someone? Ooh, I can put it on the stage. Have you ever sat down with someone for a reading and had trouble communicating with their people, angels, or spirits?
Yes. Doesn't happen often, but happens for a number of reasons. Usually ones that like mediums learn how to control are, to know when you're not well, with stress or, mental stuff in your life, just so that you can actually be in a good space to connect if you're not doing well physically. But then the third reason is sometimes that just happens. And so, I think it has something to do with the fact that it is always easier when spirits come through and they have something similar to me and my personality, or at least something that I have a knowledge base or reference point for, right? Because then that's usually when they come close to me, and they just don't stop, like nonstop information just keeps rolling, right? Wow. And so one of the best things you can do as a medium, like if you want to get names, look at all kinds of different people's names. If you want to understand people from different cultures and backgrounds, read about all of that. For a period of time, I was having a hard time understanding, like, what do grandfathers from like the 40s like? Because I would just see like, I have a grandfather, he worked with his hands. It was just like this general stuff.
Right.
So I actually went and I looked at the census and started looking at jobs that people used to have in the 40s, 50s. What did we used to do for fun during this time? What were the clothing? What was the technology? Like, just to have everything on the forefront of my mind. And I started getting a lot more of that information, because now I have those references.
Interesting. Right.
And so that's like a lot of the technical stuff that you can kind of do as a medium to expand your own knowledge base, so that you pick up on more of that. But then the other thing is just really learning and understanding your own energy to know when you are in the space to be receiving things correctly or not. Yeah.
Wild. Fascinating. Ooh, we have a friend. Hello. This is Just Blame It on My Wild.
Yes.
Also good to meet you in person.
It's Melinda. Yep.
Hi, Melinda. This is Megan. Melinda.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Brady Bunch.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Megan, I have a question. I was just wondering, like, do children ever come through to you?
Yes.
Yeah, I was just wondering if it's more just older people, just because they've, more experience with communicating, or if children ever come through too.
No, definitely. We can get children as well. I've gotten people who've lost, babies, miscarriages and stuff too. And there's a lot less information that comes through, obviously, with something like that, but they'll come through acknowledging as much as they can about the circumstance or the time
Yeah.
that was happening around that. But yeah, that's the spirit world is infinite intelligence, right? And so it's it's very interesting working as a medium, because when they go there isn't anything that they don't know or don't have access to. It's much more about how, when we're receiving it, are we interpreting it? Are we just giving it how it is? Are we understanding what it is they're trying to say to us to get it across to somebody? But even kids come through with tons of information and wisdom.
Wow.
And one more thing, I was just wondering if anything with my sister, if you feel anything with that.
All right, so I'm smiling. So that first thing that I was saying before, she definitely has a fun sense of humor. You would understand that. Okay. I do feel like she was sick for a while before she passed away.
Yep.
Okay. And this was more recent, like three to 5 years at least, like much closer together. There's something about her too, where I just feel like she does not. She lives by her own rules, I guess is what I would say, right? She's not somebody who likes to be told what to do. It's
Yep.
like, she's very much letting me know, like, so I feel like, I don't want to say troublemaker, but maybe mischievous when she was younger, you know what I mean? Like good trouble, I guess, is what I would say. She has kids. She has 2 kids.
Just one.
Just one. Okay. Because she's talking about a boy and a girl. So is it the daughter that's hers?
Just a son.
Just the son. Okay. Do you have a daughter?
No, I just have sons.
Okay. I'm gonna go back to the son in a minute, but she's also referencing a girl, and the girl I think is around 15, 16 years old.
Okay.
So I don't know if that's someone else in the family that you understand is that age.
I don't know, but I can look into that.
Okay. Okay. I feel like she's so her and her son were close, because she's definitely like watching over her son too. But I actually feel like you and her were very, very close too, because she's actually doing this with me, like 2 peas in a pod. I don't know that she was feeling very close to a lot of people before she passed away. She's making me feel like it's much more you. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Because I feel like there's something about like her personality was just so big and outgoing, and now I feel like a little bit pulled back and reserved, and a little bit like I'm being cautious, I guess is what I would say. She's very, very grateful too, because I feel like she kind of needed to be able to joke about things however she needed to. And you like not only like allowed that, but did it along with her. And that was very helpful during that time for her. But also you help watch over or check in on her son too. Is he in his late teens or early 20s?
15.
15. Okay. Okay. So I'm wondering if this, I feel like he knows the girl that she's bringing up. She's really honing in on this girl. So
Okay.
if you want, I don't know.
Go ahead.
To
If
Amy,
you want to tell me.
I don't want to say too much here, but I
Okay.
want to get the rest of the message across to you too, so I can finish the reading with you too.
Okay.
Because I don't want to say like as much of it here.
Understood.
But also, she's just talking about her son is very charming and he's very smart, right? So she wants him to. I feel like I know that I feel like people think that he's charming as well, but he doesn't see it in himself, right?
Okay.
And so she's like, wants him to see what everybody else is seeing. And he doesn't have to have it figured all out yet. Because he's making me feel like he's kind of goal oriented too. This is all I was feeling like he was older, because he's already putting pressure on himself to make those decisions about, well, what am I going to do? Like I was feeling like this, I have to figure out like all the decisions. And he's on the younger end to even be trying to figure out like, what are my steps for college and like, where am I, like all this stuff. But he's thinking like that. He's a forward thinker that way. And she's like, you have time. Don't rush it. It's all going to come in time. And I think a piece of that too is he's really wants to honor her. Right.
Okay.
So it's actually meaningful for him to step forward in some way that would be honoring her. Yes. And I'll leave you with her love, and then I'll finish
Thank you.
the rest of it when you reach out.
Thank you, Megan, very much. And honestly, you seem very comfortable public speaking. You did really great. And thank you, Amy, for bringing her on. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Melinda.
Right.
I'll connect you guys.
I don't know
on
how to
Facebook.
hang up. So if you can help
Yeah,
me.
I can hang up for you. So good
Thank
to
you.
see your pretty face.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Ah, Melinda's a sweetheart. She's one of the first people in this like community that I connected with. And I was telling you over the weekend, we all got to meet in person. And what a feeling to make friends online and then meet them in person. Like, I was not like an AOL chat room person. I met my husband in real life, like never did internet dating. So this was my first experience, like bonding with people online and then getting to meet them. Just wild, just wild. Ooh, we have someone. Oh, no, we don't. Let me see if I have any other questions for Megan. Oh, I love seeing so many comments. Sarcasm. I love this. Heather Ashworth. Sarcasm is my entire family's forte. Yes. My favorite kinds of families are the ones that are sarcastic and humorous about everything. So good. So good. Oh, my sister is here.
Which one?
Patricia. My kids call her Acha. She's my baby sister. Let's put her up here. I hope you're still in here. I don't know how long ago this was. Oh, only 12 minutes ago. Do you ever withhold messages because they would be hurtful to the person you're reading?
Yes, sometimes I do. My first thing is do no harm, right? So I'm always trying to be healing and helpful to the highest extent that that's possible. I've had several situations where something's come through that could have been very hurtful, or even I've had not many, but just a couple where I could tell that somebody's own mental health wasn't in a place where it would have been good for me to say something like that. And so I do think that's where it really does matter as a medium that you actually have very good morals and ethics doing this work.
Right.
You really don't want to hurt people. That's not what we're here for. We're here to help like create a space for healing. And then the other one that I won't ever go into is I have had people ask me, when they're going to pass away. And I've had people ask me for certain outcomes medically. And even if I can see certain things, sometimes I stay away from it because sometimes it's not helpful for somebody to hear what's going on. And, I'm not a doctor, right? So, I tread carefully with that.
Right.
Do no harm is really, really important.
Speaking of my beautiful sister, she is here. And she's a dudist minister. Like, there's a religion of the dude. So I want her to tell us about this too. Everybody, welcome my sister Patricia. We can all call her Acha.
When I was connecting, I didn't hear the answer to the question though. So could you rewind?
It's because, she didn't want to tell you. That's why. That's the answer.
That makes sense.
To the one about whether I withhold stuff sometimes.
Yeah.
I was saying yes, in certain situations I definitely do because I'm always trying to be mindful of not hurting anybody. We're here to help and be healing. And so if something is going to cause harm, that's when I would hold that piece of information back.
Yeah, that's like my biggest fear. Can you even hear me?
We can hear you good.
Okay.
Chat, you guys can all hear Acha?
Hi. I'm an empath and I've learned how to control that, and I've gotten better with handling it in my everyday life. And that's always been my biggest fear with getting more into like mediumship. Like I don't want to make anyone's situation worse. And this, hello, Alistair.
Hi, Alistair.
But yeah, so that's really good to know. And as far as dudism, which Amy thought was nudism when I first told her I became
Yes.
a minister, fun fact, I've at like the age of about, I want to say 11, I sat my parents down and was like, look, I know I'm in catechism, but I need to take a year off. Like, I believe in this philosophy I found from the East. And basically, I read Tao Te Ching, like a really good translation. And it just opened my eyes to, like, you know, everyone's spiritual path is so unique. And we can't all be shoved in a box. Whether you are Catholic or Christian or anything, like, you can still be that and have your own piece of what you need to get through life. And fun fact, Buddhism is the only modern incarnation of Taoism. So I love the Big Lebowski, but when I learned like what the philosophy is behind it, like I have the Dude Day Shing in my room, and it's a pretty good take using Lebowski quotes to match Tao Te Ching, like the philosophies of it. And yeah, it's just, that's where that comes from.
So when you were ordained, did they send you the sweater?
Oh, everything with Dudism is totally free, and you just like do a link online. I just got like a Dudist university student ID and a fun degree for free. You just click, and yeah, it's been over a decade since I ordained, but you can actually marry people in some states and stuff. You just have to follow the guidelines. Yeah, I'd have to like get official paperwork for that, but fun fact.
I think Alistair is psyched you're on TV.
Yeah, I think it's where the monster truck on the big TV. But
that is pretty awesome.
I'm so proud of you, Amy, and I'm really glad you're doing this.
I'm proud of you too. You're
and
an
Megan,
amazing mom.
And Megan, you're an amazing person. So like,
thank you.
Good for keep doing you too. Thanks for taking my call. Hopefully it doesn't glitch out, and I missed too much trying to get back.
Give Alistair a hug for me.
Will do. Well, Nugget. But yeah, I'll see you tomorrow, Amy, and I'll see you when I see you, Megan.
All right. Love you, Acha.
Bye.
Bye. Yay, my sister. Hope we can get Melanie on here too. Hide current comment. Ooh, there's another button I learned. Oh, I saw another question I wanted to put up because I don't even know what this word means. This is Phil. Did or do you have prophetic dreams, Megan?
Sometimes, yeah. That's actually probably the harder one for me, to be honest. And I get them in general, like doing mediumship and psychic work. I also get very accurate predictive stuff looking at astrology. But I actually try to stay away from that for myself. And so this is what kind of piggybacking off of what we were talking about before, like do no harm with other people. I also practice that for myself. So sometimes I don't like actually receiving that information, and I will tell the spirit world that for myself, I don't want to know. Wow. I like surprises and I like things to unfold that way. So unless I'm specifically seeking guidance for something, I actually don't lean into that for myself, but I do pick up on things a lot of the time that are going on for people around me. I'm even careful with that. You know, I pick up on things that are happening for my kids, but I truly believe like it's not, I'm a mom first. That's all I'm supposed to do. And I'm not supposed to interfere with their path or their decisions in certain ways. And so like holding that very kind of clear line and boundary is very important too, even if you do receive something.
That's wild. It's like self boundaries. Yeah. Unbelievable. Ooh, let's see.
Better relationships.
The one time I saw a psychic back in the day, my mom told me to march right up those stairs and get the trash out of my bedroom. I went home and there was a box with the tracking number 666. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Did you do anything that now you look back in your childhood that you're like, oh, maybe this was something to do with my abilities and I just didn't realize.
Yeah, a lot of the time. So one thing that I realized too is that my anxiety sometimes really is my psychic ability. And I didn't know that when I was younger. I thought I was overthinking what other people might have been thinking. As I've learned a lot of how all of this works, I've realized that I was actually picking up on what other people were thinking about me in situations, because I've done it long enough and I've done enough readings to understand how and when I'm very accurate. And so it's actually helped me manage my anxiety, because now I understand how to turn that off when I don't want to be picking up on it. So I'm not walking around constantly aware of that, because a lot of doing this work really is kind of, like you said, the boundaries, the self-regulation. That's as important as learning how to open up to receive it in the first place. The other part is, well, now how do I use it so I'm still having a healthy and balanced life for myself moving forward?
Right.
And it's not very healthy to leave that open all of the time. But yeah, I would say also, like, I could feel into like when people around me were sick or injured even before they knew they were, or
Wow.
animals around me, especially when I was younger. I'd rescue animals from everywhere too. I had so many animals.
Just amazing. Do animals come through? Like,
Yes.
do you ever sense spirits of animals?
Yes, all of the time. I have people come see me for their loved ones, their pets. I don't even like calling them pets, because even very recently, maybe last week, I think a woman came to me, and a few of her relatives came through that were in the spirit world, and she was very hesitant and waiting to ask me at the end to bring her cat through for her.
Wow.
And this was actually such a close connection for her. Like, her cat was her best friend. And so I've definitely seen, like, people will be brought to tears because we love our animals like they are a family member, and sometimes even more than our family members, depending on our families. Right?
Right.
And so it's very, very meaningful. It's actually quite beautiful to me that animals will come through with so much information for their loved ones. Like, this cat was she showed me all of the colors, the texture of her fur. She showed me that she was the kind of cat that would like climb under the blankets with her and like actually like sleep for hours on end. So she was showing me all of like her habits, and like told me like how old she was when she passed away. It's very interesting when animals come through like that, but also just incredibly healing.
Oh, it must be.
Yeah.
It must be. Oh, I didn't just thinking about that. Oh, so good. So good. Megan, I love you.
I love you too.
Does anyone have questions? Anyone else want to pop up and say hi? You're welcome to. I think I can repost the link because it might be lost in the comment land. If anyone wants to say hi. Oh, Kristen, you're funny. My mom would come through and tell me I need to clean my house or donate my old clothes, always nagging.
I have had people come through and just say some like very basic, like, you need a funny one to me is I've had quite a few, I think maybe 2 or 3 husbands who've passed away come back and tell their wives to clean up the shoe closet. Like, it's the wives that have had like tons of shoes everywhere. But sometimes they will come through with very, like, you need to check the tire is getting low, and or the light bulb in the front of the house is about to go out, or it has been out for months and you're going to trip. So sometimes it's the mundane things. But yeah, moms definitely come through like that, because I did have someone come through to tell somebody to clean their car too, because this person just had like kept tossing their trash in the backseat of their car.
Such a Portuguese love language too around here. Like, I remember when I found my house in 2020, like when we first walked through, I could like hear my grandmother in my head being like, very nice, everything neat, everything very, very nice. Like, she just gave her approval. Just, I don't know, just wild. And even beyond messages, I think there's something from the beyond about when in life I happen to put things together. I don't know if that makes sense. Like, I think like they push ideas in my brain.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was never until I bought my house that I thought to look back and figure out how old was my grandfather when he built and got to move into his dream home that he worked for in Swansea. And at the moment that the thought came to me to look at that was when I happened to be the same exact age that he was.
Yes.
And prior to that, I had always felt like I was behind. I'm behind in life. I'm 40 and I'm getting a house now. Like, and that just kind of shut me up. The minute I was like, you know what? Papa was 40. Papa was 40 when he built his amazing dream house in Swansea, which was, what a house. You got to see it. It was like a time capsule to the 60s. It was in some like house magazine too. But yeah, I feel like there's something. And I know you've told me that I might have something, but I always thought
absolutely.
I just have never felt like people talk to me. And that's always what I assumed mediumship was. What happens to me is things just pop into my head.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm a theater girl. So if I'm in theater, yes, give me a script. Tell me what to say and I'll memorize it. School, I'll memorize it. But with like funerals, I almost feel like sometimes, whether I know the person or not, things just pop into my head that add to the funeral. And I wonder if it's them almost helping me plan it.
Yes, that would be exactly what I think is going on.
Just wild.
And that's kind of exactly the feeling that, I was saying before, when I thought that I just had an overactive imagination as a kid, like things would just, pop into, my inner vision. And I didn't think much of it, just like, oh, that's interesting that
right. Like, that's wild.
Yeah. It's a very interesting kind of conversation about how the brain works in general and memory and all of these things too, because there's quite a few mediums and psychiatrists and people out there studying how the interaction between the left and the right side of the brain and lighting up certain parts of the brain can actually help enhance mediumship. But it's interesting to me because it's made me question, do I have a photographic memory, or am I receiving information when I need to pull it up and I'm asking for it? Wow. Because that one's always come very easy to me, and I receive a lot of information visually in my mind's eye, right? But I can like go back and just like read text, after I've read it. And so, yeah, it's very interesting.
I even now believe, and it only came to me like with a couple of funerals this year, that you know how the police interrogate people in like a room and there's like a two-way mirror and like they're being observed by like other police on the other side, or like a lineup. I kind of hope now that that's what funerals are like. And I've said it at a couple of funerals this year. Like we're all sitting here celebrating the life of and saying goodbye of this person, like thinking of all the things that we miss, all the things we're thankful for. Like, maybe it might be a good idea to tap into the funeral that's happening on the other side right now too. Like, maybe they're also celebrating and saying goodbye, and like maybe try to think about what specifically they're thankful the most for you about. What memories do you think they might be thinking about just like you are? You know what I mean? Like, maybe funerals might be feeling different if we think of them as like two-way or two-sided. Yeah. Have you ever felt that at a funeral?
Yes, I felt it at a funeral, and I would say also as evidence that comes through quite often, they will show me exactly what people did for them because they're acknowledging the things that have been done. And so I've had them show me exactly what kind of flowers were put somewhere, the poems where, objects that were requested to be left in the casket, tattoos, specific, like, details, placements, writing that people get on them. So they definitely see all of that stuff that people are doing for them. And so when they come through in readings, they want to acknowledge it. Yeah.
Oh, that just, I love thinking of that. That made, I don't know, that just made me feel really good thinking about it. Oh, Bay Harbor Beauty Shop is here. She's why I'm glowing.
I love it.
This is Bay Harbor Beauty Shop. My 46-year-old face is happy and moist from hydrating water gel, the hyaluronic, how do you say it, acid serum.
The good stuff that holds water.
Her stuff is amazing. Megan, you know, we both have MCAS, which is mast cell activation syndrome. I can't even wrap my head around it. I've yet to find a specialist that can help me with it. So I just have been learning about it on my own. Pretty much what I can sum up, it's like my skin and my body just decides to have reactions to whatever the hell it wants on any given day and then changes its mind. Like, it's not like you're allergic to this now and forever.
Yeah.
So it's been like 10, 15 years since I've been able to trust products on my skin without having reaction.
Yes.
And everything I've tried, especially the eye cream, amazing.
That's fantastic.
These circles were so dark and they're lightening up a little. They're tightening up. Yeah, everything that she does, like she makes everything herself. You would love your science mind.
I'm definitely going to check it out because finding any kind of products that can be used with mast cell and not cause a flare is huge.
No fragrance, none of the like natural preservatives that we are all allergic to, and just amazing. Have not had a single reaction. So yeah, Bay Harbor Beauty Shop. I'll send you her YouTube channel because when she does her YouTube lives, you can chat back and forth, ask questions. She gives advice. She's just wonderful. She's a beauty. She lives in Texas and she's gorgeous. Gorgeous. Oh, Heather. Heather says, it's the only thing that calms me sometimes, knowing I can just talk to my angels even though I can't hear their responses. Amen.
Yeah.
The other thing I always hold on to that you told me maybe a couple of times, and I think my family's urging you to, is that my family and my guides, like, they're like waiting for me to ask for help.
Yes.
Just like the friends in your life that are like, we're here.
Yes.
That's a calming thing. And that has helped me a lot.
I would say if I had you asked me before, like, what are some of the maybe benefits of doing this work, right? That's definitely one of them. When you are tuning into this stuff and you know that you should be asking for help and you learn how to ask for help more, that's something we all have a really hard time with when we need it, right? Like, I'm drowning right now, please help, right? It's made me like less nervous about reaching out to people, less self-conscious about that, you know. It's also made me much more brave. So getting to see what means something to people when spirits come through, the things that are meaningful for their families to hear from them, it's removed so many of my fears of doing certain things in life, because all I see now is, oh my God, what if I only have 40 years left? What if I only have 50 years left? What if I can't do all the things I want to do in this time? I was, like I said, petrified of public speaking, but I didn't care anymore because I knew when I got up there that they're going to be proud of me no matter what, right? That no matter what, they're going to catch me if I fall, that I'm going to be able to get back up. And so it gives like a huge amount of healing, I think, for a lot of those things that we all struggle with, and especially like asking for help.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. Our spirit teams want to help us. It's a lot easier for them if we're like, hey, this is what I really need right now. Can you please help me with this? Yeah.
I remember one of the most powerful readings I ever had. I think it was a year or two before I had reconnected with you, because it was like 2016. It was around before I had embarked on the journey of buying this funeral home with my partners, Larry and Chrissy. And it was a reading in the medium was in a house, and I came to her house and did the reading there. And she was very visual, and she had a writing style. Like, she was talking to me. She never took her eyes off of me once, but she was writing on paper. She had a whole legal pad, and she was just writing all over the paper. with circles, and it was all over. It looked like Goodwill Hunting, but words. And she could like sense when she'd fill the page and she'd turn it. And the craziest thing was the week before this reading, my twins were kind of little. Cece was a toddler because I was pulling her out of the car seat. And we were at Friendly's in Fall River, which is on Plymouth Avenue. And my dad, as I was pulling Cece out of the seat, pointed across Plymouth Avenue to what is now Xavier's Florist and said, that's Mariano's house. That's where the funeral home started. My great-great-grandfather. That's the house. That's where it started. And I had never known that or seen it. Like, I had always wondered. I imagined it was somewhere closer to Maplewood Park because I had heard it was in that neighborhood. So that was the moment where I finally saw his house. So then I go to this reading and I sit down with her and she's just like saying things and writing things. And she's like, hold. She's like, there's a couple people entering all at once, mostly men. And she goes, and there's a woman who's jumping in front of all of them and ordering them around. And she kind of looks like Jackie O, but she's shorter, matching hat, and she's holding a purse. And I was like, that's my grandmother. And she went on to describe every generation of my family, like walking into the room, and my grandmother was in charge. And she was like, you'll have your time. You'll have your time. I'm first. And it was my great-grandfather, who I'd never met, my great-grandmother, Lucy, who Lucy has come through in every reading I've ever had because she was my grandfather's mother. And she's the reason my parents are together. Another crazy story I'll tell another time. But Lucy's always been my favorite ancestor that I never got to meet. And I was supposed to be named Lucy. My name was going to be Lucy Judith Salvador Silva. I would have been a lot more Portuguese than I am now. And my godmother was reading Little Woman. And she was like, no, don't name her Lucy. Name her Amy. And that's why I'm Amy. But anyway, what was crazy was she was explaining all of my ancestors. And I knew she got to Mariano because she said something about his piercing blue eyes. And I knew that about him. There's a picture of him on the wall, like 20 feet from where I'm sitting. And my Uncle Richard has these same piercing blue eyes. She said, he's here. He's the first one that your grandmother is letting speak. And he said, well, I'm glad you finally get to see my house. And I was like, whoa. And then they went on to have all this advice. Like they were like, we are all thankful that you're going to keep Taunton in the family. Mm-hmm. They knew everything that was happening. It was just the wildest feeling knowing that she saw all of 5 generations of my family in one room. And I don't know. I'll never forget that moment. Never forget it. I felt good up until that reading. I had all these questions, all these anxieties. What do I do? What do I not do? And as of that day, I got full blessing that I'm on the right path.
Yep.
And that was because of all of them. Heather. Thank you, Amy, for doing this and introducing us to Megan.
Oh, thank you.
And thank you, Megan, for sharing your stories and gifts with us. And she's going to continue to, because we were just talking today and making plans.
Yes.
So my partner, Chrissy, and I, we were going to do this right before COVID started, and that derailed the world. We want to have a Saturday evening mediumship night in our beautiful funeral home in Taunton. So we are going to plan a mediumship night at our castle. So be on the lookout for that. I'll definitely announce it here once we plan it, but we're going to find a good Saturday that works for everybody. And yeah. Oh, that was my other question I wanted to ask you. I know you've been to both of our funeral homes, the one in Fall River. Actually, you've been to the Somerset one too.
Yeah.
And Taunton.
Yeah.
Have you ever felt anything at my funeral homes?
I think once when I was in Fall River, and so sometimes people ask me that. It's very interesting. I used to, when I would be in the embalming room, I would talk to them, and so I'd feel them close to me in those moments. But just in general, I usually actually feel them more around when the family is there, because they're there with family, right? They don't necessarily, I don't want to say all of them, because like I said, I can talk, like if I was talking to them, they'd be there. But if they're going to be around somebody, they're going to be around their loved ones. There's no reason for them to just hang around a funeral home in general for themselves.
You're proving my childhood justification for not being scared of ghosts. They're too busy to mess with funeral home girls that live upstairs. Why would they do that? Dr. Trey also wants to come on and chat with me about chronic illness and stuff too.
Oh, fabulous.
Yeah, we have lots of awesome shows planned. Can she do one over Zoom for those who live far away? Sorry to ask again, guys.
Yes, absolutely. I do them often.
Yeah, we could plan it as a whole stream just for, people to hop in. I like the link idea. We have the waiting room where we can either bring people on one at a time, or I can have up to 10 bubbles, like 10 people here at once.
Okay, yeah.
So it's whatever, you feel you get the most out of. Yeah, see? Here we have Deborah R. Bobala. I like that last name. The Bible tells us this is demonic and to stay away from it. Historically, do you guys talk about this?
Do I? Yeah.
Like this element of where that sentiment comes from, or?
Yeah, it's interesting for me because I wasn't raised with any kind of organized religion, right? So I don't have that, the fear, the way that some other people were brought up and have that kind of a fear. It's much more all love, right? And I'm not quite sure where or why that started, other than, my only thought is to try to separate us from what we're capable of, because this is something that we can all do. Yeah. Something just as a soul in a body here, we are all able to always connect to other spirit energy, right? Whether that's other humans here or that's actually spirit that is now disincarnate. And it's all love.
Yeah. And I always felt a similarity between even like I grew up Catholic, and I have very, very heavy, devout Catholic people in my family that I grew up with. And the way that they speak about angels always felt the same that I feel about, whoever has come through with mediumship in my life, that it's about guidance. It's about love. It's about wisdom.
Yes.
And it's about comfort and peace, knowing that the people that love you here are going to become spirits and angels that give you strength and watch over you.
Yes, absolutely. And that's what I would say too. I have never connected with somebody's loved one and had them say anything bad.
Yeah.
Ever, right? So they're only ever coming through with evidence, with memories, and with advice that is somehow loving, healing, or uplifting, or, making the person feel like healed and connected with them again.
Totally. And also, that being said, just like anything and everything in life, things are exploited and done badly and for bad reason. And that also can lead to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
People that are doing this for the wrong reasons, or I don't know, like I never felt good about like the scarier side of things. You know what I mean? Like the Ouija board. I wanted to do the Ouija board as like a phone call, like, hey, how you doing? Not like trying to be scared. And
well, which is actually, I think, some of the original intent, right?
Right. It was
and then
like veiled as spooky and scary.
Yes, exactly.
But it speaks to everyone has different perceptions, which, like this, the Bible also tells us that we are all created in God's image. I think some of the interpretations of mere men who gave us the Bible stories may have been misinterpreted. I think everything in life is up to interpretation mixed with like your own experience, mixed with your own upbringing. And holy moly, we got to get back to what you said about anxiety being the voice of your guides.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, that like blew my mind. Blew my mind. I've always had like an inner voice that's like putting myself down or overly fearing things, and I always thought it was like a defense mechanism, but to like reframe it as that is very interesting to me. I need
Yeah,
to
well,
explore.
that's interesting too, because I do think that people have just straight anxiety as well.
Right.
But I also think if people are empathic and intuitive, that it's very easy to tune into what's going on around you and have that give you anxiety.
Right.
And so sometimes these things are so subtle, they're hard to tell apart, and sometimes they're both happening at the same time. Right. And so that's where it becomes really like you really got to know yourself and understand like what state you're really in to understand that.
And what about the thought of like subconscious perspective? Like it could be that the meaning of the message is pure and the interpretation in your subconscious takes a negative spin on it and becomes the anxiety. You know what I mean? It's just wild to think about your own inner self working against you. I don't know. It's just wild. Let me see what this says. Such as saying that even though I was raised devout Catholic, that I was an abomination because I'm gay. I love when you harness your gifts like Megan to help people heal in a true effort to do good. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Yes, Heather.
Yeah.
I really believe that perspectives and opinions are secondary to the core, like in Celestine prophecy, like in our need as humans to have guidance and love and figure out how to do life and how to be good people. Love is love, like as cliche as it sounds. Like the God that I feel in nature and in friendships and in ability and in doing things that I know I'm meant to do, that God would not have negative feelings towards anyone making decisions that better themselves, period.
Yeah.
And I think people that judge that way, it's more about their own issues than it is the people they're imposing those judgments on. Because every faithful person I've met in life that is like truly faithful encompasses that.
Yes.
They encompass the good, they embody the good, they live what they preach, if they even preach at all. My favorite are the people that are like super faithful and not preaching at all, not pushing it on anyone, just doing.
Yes. Yep.
I love you, Megan. I love everyone that is here and watching this chat. Let me just check if there's any other questions I missed. And everyone, don't forget to like and subscribe. And I also want to say hi to the replay crew. I forgot on the first one. I am an avid replay person. It's not always likely that I get to watch. I watch a lot of YouTube content and I don't always get to catch it live. I mean, there's nothing like being able to be in chat and engage in real time, but replay is great. You can like speed us up, you can slow us down, you can pause, go pee, handle your kid, come back. I mean, what is better than that? Ooh, we already have an RSVP, yes, right now. So boom, Heather is down. If we plan our castle mediumship night is probably going to be the name of it. And I don't know, Megan, was there anything else that you wanted to say, or is anyone telling you that there's more to say?
I think we kind of covered a lot of things, right?
We kind of did.
Yeah.
We kind of did. I think we'll dive deeper into chronic illness stuff because I
would love to get into that.
We've had amazing conversations about that. And I think there's a lot of things that help cope with the adaptation to surviving and thriving with all of this.
Yes.
That are also stigmatized and need to be talked about.
Yeah. And I was even thinking after we had talked about it a little bit before too, you know, what did they call it when we went through psychology of grief, like that disenfranchised?
Disenfranchised.
Right.
Yes.
And so there is like a sense of loss and grief that people go through when you have chronic or hidden medical things that people don't understand too.
And disenfranchise means that society doesn't normally see it as grief.
Yeah.
The perfect example is like the death of a divorced spouse. That is an example of disenfranchised grief.
Yeah.
Because your boss might be like, why do you need the day off? Like, just because you're divorced, like people just don't default to accepting that as grief or something worth, needing to take time off or to process. But someone was part of your life in any impactful way. The biggest thing I like to tell people about grief is that it's like yin yang, grief and love. If you don't ever want to feel grief, good luck. Because if you love anything,
Yes.
you're going to feel grief. You cannot have grief without love. And you can't have love without grief. If we all lived forever and there was no death, we wouldn't appreciate what we have so much because we know subconsciously that everything's going to end. So
Yes.
it's like the tension of opposites, a dichotomy. They work together.
Mm-hmm.
So if we can better our relationship with grief, we can enhance our ability to love and our capacity for it.
Yeah.
What is this? Someone wants to pack up and let's do this in Florida. I'd like to pack many of you up and move you to Florida. I can't do the show, but you can join me down here with frizzy hair and sweat rings. Dude.
I would have the frizzy hair. Yeah. If I'm down there, that would happen.
Check. Frizzy hair. We got that. And I love Florida. We will make something work. We will make something work. And even if we do something in the castle in person, maybe we can have a laptop or something included for some people that want to be live while we're there. We can figure it out. Ooh, Madam Court Reporter is here. Do you know who that is?
No.
Did you watch the Karen Reed trial?
I didn't. I'm like the only person that didn't watch it. I just heard everyone talking about it, so I didn't feel like I needed to watch it.
Oh, there's so much to see. But one of the best, I mean, my mom, I don't even know if Madam Court Reporter knows this, but my mom was a Portuguese court interpreter. So she would interpret in courtrooms, in law offices, at depositions. She was a translator for over 30 years. So she was always in a courtroom and she would take us to court and we get to watch trial all the time. So I grew up being really impressed with like the transcribers and like the tiny keyboard. And they would just always be like, and they had to transcribe like everything that was said. And that always blew me away. Madam Court Reporter is famous because in especially the first Karen Reed trial, she was always there and they have like a mouthpiece. It looks like kind of like Darth Vader. So she's like speaking verbally, repeating everything that happens in the trial instead of typing. And then that gets transcribed. It's like, I can't imagine what it's like to be in her brain for that. Cause like I was watching all of the trial. I just taking in everything and knowing what to say in there and repeating it all. It's just, I want to just
some Virgo and Gemini stuff in her chart. That's like some fast mind stuff right there.
Yes. And there's this guy, Jimmy, who has a Facebook page called Auntie Deb. And he was really great at impersonating like everyone involved in the trial. And every time he impersonated Madam Court Reporter, he used a different prop to replace like the Darth Vader mask, like a CPAP machine, all these random things. There's a lot to dive into with Karen Reed. I'll gently guide you. Yeah. It's amazing meeting people that don't know. Ooh. But yeah, there's going to be a lot more coming about it. Oh my goodness. Yeah. And we need more mediums to channel John O'Keefe because there's only been one. And supposedly she says that Karen did it, but factually she didn't. Like he was not hit by a car. And there's lots of theories of what happened. So maybe we can work on figuring it out. But anyway, I've often wondered if my mom ever crossed circles with Madam Court Reporter. I don't know how much my mom made it into Norfolk County, but I know she was in Boston a lot. Oh, you're not the, but you're one. Oh, and you use the so the steno machine still exists. Is that like the tiny typewriter where you're like, oh, what a talent. What a talent. I love it. But anyway, I forget what I was saying because I just totally went off there. Oh, I'm so excited to introduce you to this world.
Yeah, we're gonna have to have a hang
But yeah, I hope that we do this many, many more times. If people want to follow you, you're working on a website.
I call myself the hidden medium. So for anyone who understands astrology, I'm a Scorpio with a Cancer moon. And that is an energy that really likes to be behind the scenes. And so that's what I mean when I say that doing this work has made me much more brave than I would have been on my own. And so I don't want to say reluctantly, because you don't do that when you want things to come about for you in the world, right? So I am going to be having a website very soon. I promise many people who
Awesome. I will definitely share it once we have it.
They'll find me.
Yes, I will link. I know I have links to share. I'm going to put them in chat now. See, I learned things. This first link is the link to the event that she is having tomorrow, which at this point is not sold out yet.
Correct. There's still some tickets left.
Okay. This is the immersive situation where you're doing mediumship, but there's going to be all the screens.
Yes.
Very cool. And this is happening in Plymouth. So if anybody is in the Plymouth area and wants to partake, there is that. And then the second link, this is the, what we'll call it, the bi-monthly practice circle.
Yep.
Also in Plymouth? I forgot to write down. Okay.
Yep.
Circle. Perfect. If anyone is interested in the bi-monthly practice circle, then boom, I'm going to add that comment as well. And we are always connected. I can always get in touch with Megan. So Melinda, I will connect you with Megan privately. I think is the best through Facebook Messenger. I can put you in a Facebook message, and then you guys can connect with each other and keep talking, and maybe I can remove myself. But yeah, if anyone else wants direct communication with Megan, just reach out and I will figure it out. Let's see. Megan, I wish I looked like you when I was nervous.
It's a facade. Thank
You're
you.
gorgeous. I told you, Megan looks like a Greek porcelain doll. Like just absolutely gorgeous. We also have a lot of fun playing poker.
Oh God, yeah.
Going dancing. Oh, yeah. There's a lot to Megan and our friendship. And did I miss any of this? Nope, I got that. Awesome. So I think that's it. Unless anybody has any other questions or anybody else wants to jump up, I think we're gonna get going. I know I could use a dinner.
I have so enjoyed my time with you here, Amy. I adore you. I love that you're doing this. I love how many people you're going to help and educate with what you're doing. And I'm happy for you, and I'm so proud of you.
Thank you, Megan. I love you.
I love
you
too.
For reals. For reals. Thank you. Ooh, I'll be in Plymouth all spring and summer. Who's this? Sea Star. So many good names on here. I'll be in Plymouth all spring and summer. I can't wait to come to an event. Wonderful. Awesome. You will not regret it. Megan, thank you so much for coming on. Everyone, thank you so much for listening. I have an outro video, right? This is something that me and my amazing partners made for our funeral home website. It includes some footage of our funeral home. It includes some conversation about why we all do what we do and work together. And I'm going to air that on the way out. And I think I know how to do it by just pressing outro. Wait, let me see. Yes. So thank you all for joining. Please like and subscribe. Please share. Hello to the replay crew. And thank you so much for being here.
since we've all formed this partnership, and we've agreed on just about everything, and we've always talked about everything. We want to keep it homey. We don't want this big hall. We want to keep it family owned.
The last 3 years have just gone by so fast, and it is true that the partnership that we have has been so amazing, and I don't look at it so much as a partnership but more as a friendship, which everyone views that of the three of us.
I love how real we are. I think part of what makes us awesome is we come from so many different backgrounds in the industry, different types of businesses, different lifestyles, different somewhat ages. I'm only slightly younger. But we're able to communicate and structure our business around the things that we love and want to improve on from what we've actually been through. What works? What do we love about what we do? And what do we think can be better?
I really love helping people. I like making the friendships with the families, especially the newer families that are coming to us and totally putting their trust in us. And I mean, I'm very open with them and showing them everything and letting them make all of their decisions.
We are able to completely cater everything we do to the needs of every family because they're all so different.
Every family that I meet with, I try to find out about their loved one and try to personalize each moment, each celebration of that person's life, and it means so much to me for them to tell me about their loved one.
I think we read people amazingly.
I had a family the other day, and it came time to select the casket, and I started off right at the bottom, and I said, I'm going to show you why caskets go up. And I actually talked them down a tier, and they were looking at me like, wait a minute, something's wrong here. The funeral homes are, in their perspective, is supposed to be making a lot of money and pushing you into things. They felt so comfortable, and I was comfortable too.
We love what we do our best job, and we price to reflect that. And the people, it's up to them, and they've shown that they appreciate it.
We had a family that came in, and they were big animal lovers. And we had a picture of Nissa on the wall, our comfort dog. And they said, oh my God, what a beautiful dog. And the husband, you could see, needed cheering up. I said, would you like to meet Nissa? I got you. Here comes Nissa. And the husband was hugging her, and Nissa was licking him, and they thought it was great. Now, you couldn't do that with every family, but they just
but at that moment,
it was great.
It was the right moment.
All the funeral homes in this area are good, professional, and but I wouldn't have been able to do that working for another funeral home.
When society doesn't talk about funerals and grief and death as much as other industries, it makes our consumers, by default, expect what they assume is the right way.
Right.
So when
So
we're
it's like this
offering
cycle
them something
of
else,
holding everybody back.
and we cry with them, and we laugh with them, and we can be silly with them, we can be serious with them.
There is no judgment in this time. You and your family are grieving, and everybody grieves differently. Every family is different. How can people expect things to go a certain way?
People sometimes don't realize that when they've lost a loved one at 2 o'clock in the morning, we were with them, and then we're meeting it with them the next day, but it doesn't end for us like it doesn't end for them. And it's all on us to make everything okay for them.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for your loss. We take everything home with us, the emotions, the feelings. We can't just turn it off. And there's nights you lay in bed and you can't turn it off.
If the clergy is looking the way we conduct the funerals, the way we handle people, and recommending us, that is the best feeling in the world.
I think we've inspired the families that we've helped this year to embrace the more intimate and private elements of these services. I remember families saying, I didn't realize how meaningful this could be. Like the super informal conversations. It's the one thing, I would say, out of what happened with COVID that I hope continues. And I'm proud of us.
Well, absolutely.